the exclusive contract novel of Feilu Fiction Network. The quadrangle is in disorder, and I, Liu Guangtian, have the final say. Liu Guangtian traveled to Qinman Siheyuan and became the second son of the education master Liu Haizhong. Can a free soul tolerate this official lunatic in the bangs? Immediately establish a separate household registration with Liu Haizhong. So just because there were cheats, later supermarkets followed suit. Finding a job is just a matter of 3 pigs, and dividing the house is just a problem of imitating a watch. If it can't be solved, then let's start with it. Liu Guangtian personally experienced this hot era and decided to use the knowledge of later generations to make the necessary contribution to this era. Of course, in a courtyard house, it's not about teasing animals and adding fun to life. The quadrangle is in disorder, and Liu Guangtian the final say. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Soul-piercing Liu Guangtian's single household registration. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Liu Guangtian lifted his head with difficulty, his face covered in scrambled eggs. The broken plate cut a blood hole in his forehead, and now it's bleeding. You little bunny, scrambled eggs are also something you can eat. A man in his 40s with a face full of flesh raised a palm as thick as a bear's paw. Prepare to give Liu Guangtian a second blow. Just now, on the first blow, I hit my predecessor on the plate. Give Liu Guangtian a chance to wear his soul. Liu Guangtian was stunned. In 2023, a handsome young man in his 30s got drunk. Why did everything change in front of me? You bastard. What attitude, I'll beat you to death. Standing up in the bangs, he slapped me. A young man with a big head of less than 20 looked proud beside him. A 12-year-old boy hid far away. Looking at the slap that came over, Liu Guangtian instinctively raised his hand to block it. A punch across the table hit the middle-aged man with a face full of flesh and fat on his face. Oh, oh. Liu Haizhong covered his eyes and screamed in agony. You unfilial person, you dare to hit Dad. Liu Guangqi jumped up and was about to punch him. Liu Guangtian forcefully climbed the mountain and slapped him on the forehead. Liu Guangqi sat on the ground with his eyes turning white. Oh, how do I know their names? Liu Guangtian shook his head and said, How did I travel through time? In just a few seconds, Liu Guangtian fused the memories of this body. In 2023, Liu Guangtian, after drinking heavily, traveled to the world of poultry-filled quadrangles in 1961. It's really unlucky to step on a horse, not to mention crossing into the wilderness, it's still such a family. Liu Guangtian said bitterly in his heart. Guangtian, you actually hit your father and big brother, and you're not afraid of thunder and lightning. A middle-aged woman trembled and said. The 12-year-old Liu Guangfu looked at Liu Guangtian with admiration. As a free soul that crossed over in 2023 and had no concern for this family, how could it be kidnapped by this morality? It's winter now, and if you want a thunder, you'll get spring next year. Liu Guangtian touched his brow. The stabbing pain there made him very uncomfortable. Please wait slowly. You little beast, I'll kill you. The eyes in the bangs were bloodshot, and he picked up the rolling pin and raised it, ready to smash it. What are you doing, Lao Lu? This is going to cost lives, a man at the door shouted loudly. This is a middle-aged man in his 40s and 60s, with a small flat head and a face full of righteousness that is about to flow out. This is the Yazonghai of the moral heavenly sovereign. This little beast actually started hitting me. Liu Haizhong dropped the rolling pin in his hand. He also knew that if someone died, it would be a big deal. TSK. I'm a little beast. So what are you? Old beast. Liu Guangtian smiled and said, Hee, you keep cursing. My eyes turned white in the bangs. Yi Zhonghai frowned and said, Liu Guangtian, you are also a junior high school student. How come you don't know the word filial piety? There are only children who are not considerate, and those who are not are parents. You're actually hitting your own father, that's really a pig and a dog. Liu Guangtian rolled his eyes and said, Yi Zhonghai, you want to educate people, go back and educate your own son. Why are you forcing me to nag you? I. Yi Zhonghai rolled his eyes in anger, barely catching a breath. Who doesn't know he's unemployed? Liu Guangtian's words are just a thorn in his side. How did you speak? A middle-aged man wearing glasses, like a big horse monkey, jumped out. Did all the books you read go into the dog's stomach? Get out of here, Yan Laoshi, what are you doing? Liu Guangtian said rudely, go back and calculate how to divide the pickled vegetables for tonight. Yan Bugui trembled and pointed at Liu Guangtian. At this moment, the backyard was filled with people watching the excitement, one by one dumbfounded. I didn't expect Liu Guangtian to be so fierce today. Liu Guangtian has seen poultry-filled quadrangles in later generations and has long wanted to smoke these beasts. Facing them now, instinctively fired the map cannon. Yi Zhonghai took a deep breath and said, hold a general meeting, hold a whole house meeting, criticize Liu Guangtian for. Okay, hurry up then, Liu Guangtian sneered. Just now, Liu Guangtian's golden finger has been credited to the account. Before Liu Guangtian traveled, he opened a meat shop in a small county town. A storefront of over 150 square meters, selling pigs, beef, mutton, as well as chickens, ducks, and geese. There is also seafood in the pool. Because of the convenience of things like relying on the sea. There is some rice, noodles, and coarse grains in a corner. By the way, I can earn some money. There is also a 40 square meter space in the store, which is a room for storing express delivery. This thing doesn't make much money. But it can drive business in the store. Now Liu Guangtian can feel that this storefront has a lot of goods inside. And there is also information telling Liu Guangtian that these things can all be refreshed. That means if you finish moving today, you'll have to make up for it tomorrow. With this thing, can Liu Guangtian still be afraid of these beasts? Moreover, before soul piercing, he was a martial arts enthusiast and practiced the 8 extremes fist with some enthusiasm. And I also enjoy making mini engines and cars. I spent a lot of money on buying machines for this hobby. Let's go to the Intermediate People's Court to hold a meeting to criticize Liu Guangtian. Yi Zhonghai almost gritted his teeth. Today is Sunday, it's like December 30th, noon now. Soon, the yard was filled with people. Under the leafless paulownia tree in the courtyard, there is an 8 immortals table. Yi Zhonghai sat with his back to the north, while Liu Haizhong and Yan Bugui sat on both sides, just like General Wencheng. Liu Guangtian looked indifferent as he felt the powerful power within his 16-year-old body. I'll go, this may be a combination of the powers of 2 lifetimes, Liu Guangtian said secretly in his heart. Tisk, it's a perfect opportunity to sever ties with Liu Haizhong. If you have parents like Liu Haizhong, don't be disgusted to death. Guangtian, you can do it. Today, you finally resisted. A guy with a big horse face and a mustache, his eyes agile like mice. I also understand, big brother. We can't be beaten to death. Now is a new society and a new country. Those ideas of big parents will definitely be shattered by the iron fist of the proletariat. Liu Guangtian raised his right hand and clenched his fist high, shouting slogans with all his might. Yi Zhonghai and Liu Haizhong didn't feel much, but Yan Bugui's eyes narrowed and he felt something unusual. You little beast, you're not afraid of thunder and lightning. Beat me like this. Liu Haizhong saw that the person was almost there, so he patted the table and stood up. One eye in the bangs is similar to a panda. I'm a little beast, then you're an old beast. Liu Guangtian said without hesitation. This sentence made the audience burst into laughter. Especially that big black man's silly pillar, his laughter was like a donkey barking. Shut up. Be honest with me, everyone, Haizhong shouted wildly as he patted the table. Qinman outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Down with the silly pillar. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Liu Guangtian, you disrespected your parents and even hit your father and elder brother. Such a bad behavior is absolutely unacceptable to us. Haizhong said. Haizhong instills the concept of respecting the elderly and waiting for him here all day long, so that he can have a comfortable retirement environment when he grows old in the future. For Haizhong, Liu Guangtian's behavior now is unforgivable. Stop, what can you do? What can you do to me? Liu Guangtian sneered, Haizhong, you think you're a scallion, but who's dipping you in sauce? It's upside down. Pillars and pillars. Haizhong trembled and called out. Silly Zhu was looking at a woman with a squinted expression. This woman is Qinhuai Ru. Now Qinhuai Ru is only 20.6 or 7 years old. The silver bowl had a seductive peach blossom eyes on its big face, as well as the heavy grain depot on its chest, and its buttocks were as plump as a millstone. Stupid Zhu was drooling to watch. Now hearing Haizhong's call, I quickly stood up. Liu Guangtian, you little brat, let's see if you can do it. If I haven't hit you in a few days, I'll go up to the house and expose the tiles. Silly Zhu jumped over and slapped him. In Silly Zhu's heart, hitting Liu Guangtian would still be like touching a screw in the urine tank and pinching it with a hand. Liu Guangtian's eyes froze as he focused his attention. It feels like the slap from Silly Zhu is slow and slow. Silly Zhu's black and ugly old face was covered in a ferocious smile, and the slaps he drew were all stained with oil. Liu Guangtian lifted his elbow and blocked the slap. With a twist of the waist and elbow, it hit Silly Zhu's neck. Silly Zhu felt the golden star rising in front of him, and he slapped his hand twice before sitting on the ground. A true showdown is a matter of 1 or 2 moves. Those who come and go looking really good are filming movies. Silly Zhu was knocked down by a move, and everyone in the yard opened their mouths in surprise. Silly Pillar is the god of war in the courtyard. Sitting on the ground, Silly Zhu struggled to stand up and said, "You kid. Are a practitioner. When did you practice?" The Silly Pillar standing up was still shaking, desperately shaking his head, trying to drive away the dizziness. Haizhong finally closed his mouth, but there was nothing he could do. I can only say to my bangs, old Liu, how will you handle this? How to deal with it? Drive him away. Hunger to death this bastard. Liu Haizhong slammed the table desperately. I'm a bastard, what are you? Liu Guangtian didn't care at all. Drive me away, that's okay. Go and get my household registration form now. Liu Guangtian is currently 16 years old and has just graduated from junior high school in the summer. I have been doing odd jobs for several months, and now it is the end of December. Seeing it coming in 1962. I paid my salary for working odd jobs for several months. Now I am hiding 5 yuan close to my body. Okay, I'll starve you little bastard. Liu Haizhong didn't curse out the last word. On Sunday, the street was working, and soon Liu Guangtian's household registration and food allowance list were listed. As for the address, it is still located in the Red Star Courtyard, but there is no specific room number. Liu Guangtian, starting from the first day of next month, you will pay 5 yuan per month. That's a promise. Liu Haizhong left hastily. Liu Haizhong only regards big head Liu Guangqi as his biological son. Liu Guangtian and Liu Guangfu can't even compare what they picked up. Cut, want money. You wait for me. Liu Guangtian is so relaxed all over. I can only stay in a hotel tonight, Liu Guangtian said secretly in his heart. Tomorrow I will go to the steel rolling mill to find a job. And tonight I will go to the black market to sell some goods and make some money. Damn it, I only have this tattered cotton jacket, nothing else. Liu Guangtian knows that finding a job is too easy. I can get supplies by myself. I estimate that I can promise the steel rolling mill to get 3 big fat pigs per month, so the work problem will be solved. In the portable supermarket, there are 5 or 6 white pigs. There are also various types of meat that are divided and placed in the freezer. Staying in a hotel is very convenient, he has a household registration book. And it's a small hotel run by the street. Everyone knows how Liu Guangtian responds to things. Liu Guangtian's reputation is rotten. The news of him hitting his father spread throughout Nanluoga Lane. I spent 50 cents and moved into a small single room. Liu Guangtian threw himself on the bed and studied his golden fingers. He has the mental ability to check the portable supermarket, and there is some information on the notebook on the counter. Portable supermarket host Liu Guangtian, spiritual power 20, the peak for ordinary people is 10, 20 stamina, the peak for the average person is 10, the host has been human for 2 generations, with a combination of spiritual and physical strength. The spiritual power is 20, and the host gains the mental power. Liu Guangtian murmured in his heart, I'll go and have some motivation to study tonight. Liu Guangtian searched through the storage area of the express delivery. It's easy to find military coats, as well as underwear and cotton jackets. After taking a shower in the bathhouse, I changed myself inside and outside. Fortunately, in the winter of later generations, people were pursuing cost-effectiveness, and many people bought retro items. Now these clothes don't look abrupt when worn. In the small room, I had a cup of hot water and ate bread with braised beef. A simple and unadorned dinner passed. Both of these were found in the express delivery. TSK, why is it so delicious? I didn't feel it before. No, it's not the feeling of this body at this time. Liu Guangtian understood. Take off your clothes and go to bed, ready to go to the black market and do something late at night. Wave a half brick with mental energy before going to bed. Unexpectedly, it only took less than 3 minutes, and Liu Guangtian felt his head tingling. Then I don't know anything. This sleep lasted until 7 o'clock the next morning, and Liu Guangtian was full of energy. TSK, I fell asleep last night after running out of energy. Liu Guangtian smacked his lips. I know the time because he has a watch. Yesterday, I found 2 vintage watches for a certain piano at the courier storage point. Of course, this is highly imitated. There is also a lunar phase 8 needle watch, which is genuine. A women's watch set with diamonds. Liu Guangtian has the genuine watch with 8 lunar phases in his hand. Carrying 2 high imitation pieces in his pocket, he drank a box of milk, ate bread, and left. The goods at the express delivery point have also been refreshed, which makes Liu Guangtian walk with confidence. The added suede leather shoes make a clicking sound when walking. This thing is also in a classical style. Liu Guangtian dared not try some novel styles from later generations. He couldn't even enter the entrance of the Red Star steel rolling plant before 8 o'clock. I can only wait here, and soon I'll see a broken jeep coming over. At this moment, workers were clamoring towards the factory. The jeep was driving very slowly, and Liu Guangtian immediately saw Li Huaid sitting in the car. In the original drama, Li Huaid, the deputy director of the factory, was very impressive. Director Li. Liu Guangtian quickly knocked on the car window. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Looking for jobs. A piece of cake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Do you have something to do? Li Huaid rolled down the car window and the driver immediately stopped. Li Huaid looked at the big boy with a childish face in front of him. He has a tall figure of 1.80 meters, a handsome face, and a brand new military coat with a Lei Feng hat on his head. It looks like it's very wealthy. Especially the temperament on Liu Guangtian's face is a strong sense of confidence. This kind of temperament cannot be cultivated in this era. Only a wealthy and strong country can cultivate the confidence of its citizens. Liu Guangtian looks like someone from his uncle's side, not much like Liu Haizhong. Otherwise, it would probably have to be like Liu Guangqi, with a big head. You asked me to inquire about the matter of the white pig, and now there is a result. Liu Guangtian smiled and said. Li Huaid was stunned for a moment, but his mind was so agile. Ah, then you get in the car. Follow me to the office to talk. Li Huaid smiled. Li Huaid, as the deputy factory director, is in charge of logistics. In the current year of disasters, he has lost a lot of hair in order to eat. I heard there is pork now, so why don't you hurry and let Liu Guang come by car? Liu Guangtian calmly opened the car door and went up. Liu Hai and Yi Zhonghai's silly pillar Jia Dongshu came to work together. They watched as Liu Guang saw Li Huaida's car in the sky. How did this bastard get to know deputy factory director Li? The eyeballs and the bangs are about to hit the soles of the feet. Yeah, this kid is good. Jia Dongshu wrapped himself tightly in a tattered cotton jacket. Hee, second uncle, just watch it. Liu Guangtian has a job right away. Silly Zhu's mouth really stinks. Have you regretted it? The pillar shut up, hurry to work. Yi Zhonghai frowned and led the way into the factory gate. For Yi Zhonghai, as long as Liu Guangtian doesn't live in the Red Star courtyard, it doesn't matter. Liu Guangtian followed Li Huaid to the office, where he had just sat down. Li Huaid urgently asked, Comrade, what you said about the white pig. Director Li, my name is Liu Guangtian and I want to find a job here. I'll go to the procurement department and guarantee to get 6 pigs a month. Liu Guangtian said. 6 pigs. Li Huaid exclaimed in surprise, okay. So there's no problem with your employment. It's just the price of pork. 1 yuan per kilogram. Liu Guangtian said, you can't even buy 2 yuan in the black market now. There is a price but no market. Of course, Li Huaid is aware of this. Nowadays, steel mills have money, but if they want to buy materials with money, they won't be able to do so. Of course, Liu Guangtian can also go to the black market to sell a little, but that can only be a small fuss. If we ship in large quantities, it's just asking for death. Okay. We need as much as we have, said Li Huaid excitedly. I can still purchase some chicken, duck, fish, and the like on a regular basis, Liu Guangtian continued, is that what happened when I joined the company? No problem, that's no problem, Li Huaid said. I joined the procurement department as a purchaser. My salary is 35 yuan per month. When do you think we can bring the pig over? Li Huaid wants to see the goods first. Even if Liu Guangtian can only do it once, it doesn't matter. Now give me a truck and I'll drive over to pick up the goods myself, Liu Guangtian said. Can you still drive? Okay. Li Huaid agreed. I'll be back in 2 hours, Liu Guangtian left with Li Huaida's secretary, Xiao Wang. Xiao Wang is a man in his 20s and 60s, taking Liu Guangtian to the transportation department. I drove a rundown truck and left. I'll have a house later. Where should we share it? Liu Guangtian parked his car on the roadside in the suburbs to stay for a while, thinking about the matter of wanting a house later. By the way, I'll have a house in the Red Star courtyard. Hee, it's lively there. Otherwise, in such an era, life would really be boring. Everyone in the courtyard is talented and speaks well. I've traveled through time, why should I make the beasts jump around? Liu Guangtian has made this decision, let's see if the time is around. Throw 3 white pigs from the portable supermarket. I just drove straight to the steel rolling mill. Arriving at the factory gate, the security guard on duty went up and took a look. There are 3 big fat pigs that have been killed inside, and the guards quickly waved their hands to let them pass. The car drove to the back of Cafeteria 1, and Li Huaid came out of the cafeteria. Looking at the 3 big fat pigs, Li Huaida's joyful voice changed. Hurry up and have someone weigh it. The white striped pig is clean with its internal organs. 523 pounds, Li Huaid excitedly said. Let's go to my office and have tea. Your matter will be done for you right away. When he went out just now, Liu Guangtian threw down his 1-inch photo and household registration book. It's not 5 minutes back to the office now. Secretary Xiao Wang came over with 530 yuan and Liu Guangtian's work permit. After Xiao Wang left, Li Huaid said, "Oh my goodness, try to find more resources for the factory in the future. I can also upgrade you. You are a regular worker this time, but there is no internship period." Liu Guangtian smiled and said, "Thank you, Director Li. In the future, I will definitely follow in his footsteps and make my due contribution to the steel rolling mill." Li Huaid smiled in a daze, knowing that this kid must have some connections. This relieved him a lot of pressure. This is just showing attitude and standing in line. Okay, I appreciate young people like you. Work hard. There will definitely be no problem with promotion in the future. Li Huaid began to paint a big picture. Okay, but I don't have a place to live right now. Do you think it's possible? Liu Guangtian asked. There's no problem sharing your room, Li Huaid said generously. Thank you, Director Li. This is a beautiful wooden box, Liu Guangtian said, placing a wooden box on the table. Liu Guangtian carried a canvas yellow backpack embroidered with red characters to serve the people. There is a watch logo for a certain piano on the wooden box. There are things from the leaked era inside that Liu Guangtian took out and threw away. This is a good thing. Li Huaid opened his watch and looked at the exquisitely crafted and sparkling watch. I couldn't help but reach out and pick it up. I met it in Pigeon City, Liu Guangtian smiled and said, I bought it. This is the latest watch, this one. Green coins are almost 500. Tisk, that's just over 1,000. Li Huai smacked his lips and said, I'll give you the money. No need. In the courtyard of the Red Star Courtyard, there are 2 ear rooms to the west of the main house, and the 2 main houses are empty. They are all connected together. Liu Guangtian smiled slightly. Well. I know. Li Huaid smiled and said, that was left behind by Engineer Wang. He just handed over the house 3 days ago. Okay, I'll give it to you. Li Huaid really handles things by collecting money. I want to convert it into a private house. Can you tell me how much it costs? Liu Guangtian said, feeling very bachelor. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Going around or returning to the courtyard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If there's another watch like this, I'll make it a private one for you, Li Huaid said lightly. You bought it. I'll deliver it tomorrow morning, Liu Guangtian said. No problem. Li Huaid nodded and said, I'll let Xiao Wang handle it for you now. I have something else to trouble the factory director with. I don't have a ticket to buy a quilt or something. Liu Guangtian smiled dryly and said, I was just kicked out of home and had no belongings. You kid. Take them all out. Li Huaid grabbed a handful of receipts from the drawer and threw them on his desk. Go back and get busy. I'll take you to the procurement department tomorrow. Secretary Xiao Wang came in with some information and 2 keys. I also equipped Liu Guangtian with a semi-old 28 bar. Liu Guangtian bid farewell and left. After leaving the gate of the steel rolling mill, go to the city center first. TSK, Li Huaid is really generous in his actions. There are 20 kilograms of cotton bills and 3 zhang of cloth bills on the bill. The coal ticket weighs 1,000 pounds, still the same type of smokeless coal. As for meat tickets, there are no more. Surprisingly, the grain receipt weighs 100 pounds. In Li Huaida's mind, Liu Guangtian could even get a white pig. There must be no shortage of meat to eat. Liu Guangtian rode his bike around the city, slowly admiring the 49 cities of the 1960s. As for lunch, I just had a big bowl of braised soup. At around 4 o'clock in the evening, Liu Guangtian rode his bicycle. Carrying 2 flattened cart necks, we arrived at the entrance of the Red Star courtyard. On 2 flatbed trucks, one is pulling anthracite coal. One is pulling the contents inside the quilt. They are all packed in cardboard boxes. The cardboard boxes of this era are also very rare. Many families use cardboard boxes as furniture. Put on some clothes, bedding, and so on. The gate of the quadrangle has long been made into a slope, so that a cart can be pulled in. As for that threshold, it has long been cut down. Yan Bugui watched as Liu Guangtian pushed his bicycle in. And there is a pair of large intestine and pork belly, pork heart, and pork fat hanging on the faucet of the car. His eyeballs are about to pop out. Then 2 flatbed trucks followed behind, causing Yan Bugui, who wanted to come and take advantage, to tremble. Liu Guangtian, you don't live here anymore. Why are you still coming in? These things are yours. Yan Bugui jumped over. Teacher Yan, is this courtyard yours? Liu Guangtian kept walking, while Yan Bugui closely followed behind. No, how could it be mine? This belongs to the public, Yan Bugui hurriedly said. He was afraid that Liu Guangtian might cause him some trouble. Then I'm not your business coming in. Liu Guangtian sneered, did I come into your house? Well, what do you call that? I'm the third master. Yan Bugui's face turned red. Go aside. Calculate how many pickled vegetables your family will have tonight, Liu Guangtian shook his head. At this moment, they entered the courtyard, and Liu Guangtian pushed the car under the corridor of the main house. I only found 3 keys now. Open the westernmost ear room, which looks over 20 square meters. Divide it into 3 pieces. One is a 7-square bathroom with a toilet. There is also an 8-square kitchen and a 10-square storage room. Now let Wanek send the smokeless coal into the storage room. There are also some stacked firewood in the storage room. On the other car, there are cotton quilts, dishes, chopsticks, and so on. Of course, 3 blankets should be placed in the master bedroom. Engineer Wang's house has been cleaned up very well, and the furniture here has not been taken away. Because it was provided by the factory. After putting away the things, I saw that the courtyard was filled with people. Yi Zhonghai and his team have returned from work. What are you doing here, Liu Guangtian? Yi Zhonghai asked with a righteous expression on his face. Yan Bugui's face muscles twitched on the side, knowing that Yi Zhonghai was about to be scolded. Is this your courtyard, Yi Zhonghai? Or have you become the local emperor of the courtyard? Liu Guangtian sneered, I'm here to report to you. I am an old man in the courtyard, and I have power. Yi Zhonghai said angrily. Liu Guangtian called him Yi Zhonghai, which made Yi Zhonghai's nameless fire soar to the sky and cover the spirit. Damn it, you are the role of civil mediators, Liu Guangtian said calmly. If there is a conflict, you don't have to listen to your mediation. The street doesn't give you the power to cause trouble. You. This is a public house, how dare you live in it? Yi Zhonghai's face was gloomy, and his gaze, which was like a knife, couldn't be concealed. Hee, don't you agree? You can report to the factory, street or police station, Liu Guangtian said nonchalantly. At this moment, Su Damao walked in with a cart and said, tsk, light sky beetles are breaking up. Director Li has allocated this house to you. So tonight, my brother will treat you to a drink to celebrate. Su Damao heard from Secretary Xiao Wang. What? How could it be? Liu Haizhong shouted out with a big belly. He, it's impossible. Guangtian is now a purchaser at the steel rolling mill, Su Damao said. The pork you had for lunch was brought back by Guangtian. At noon, the cafeteria served an extra dish of Chinese cabbage and grilled meat. Although it was a little pig that got into the vegetable field, there was also a smell of pork there. Damao, you're welcome. I brought some vegetables back from here and they will be ready later. Come and have a drink with me, Liu Guangtian said. Standing beside Liu Guangqi in the midst of the bangs, his eyes lit up and he took 2 steps forward and said to Liu Guangtian, these 2 main rooms are for me. I happen to be getting married, and I'll be a new house. He also pointed at Liu Guangtian, with a commanding attitude of commanding his clothes from above. This is Liu Guangqi's habit now. It's a piece of cake to instruct Liu Guangtian and Liu Guangfu. What are you saying? Liu Guangtian grabbed Liu Guangqi's finger and hesitated. Let Liu Guangqi stand on tiptoe. Ouch, it hurts. Let go. You let go. Liu Guangqi screamed in agony, tears streaming down his face. Get out of here, there's another time. I'll break your leg when I step on the horse. What the hell, you're talking to me in a commanding tone, Liu Guangtian sneered. As he spoke, he let go of Liu Guangqi. Liu Haizhong touched the still green circles under his eyes, but didn't dare to step forward. It's all scattered, go home and cook, Yi Zhonghai said with a green face. Liu Guangtian ignored these and watched as Wanek unloaded everything. Pay them to leave. Start cooking by yourself in the kitchen. There is also a small boiler in the kitchen that connects the main and secondary bedrooms with radiators in the living room. But Liu Guangtian doesn't need it now. His firepower is so strong now. There are 2 grass pots in the kitchen, where large intestine pork belly and pork heart are braised together. Another mouthful of potsticker with cornmeal. In this era, corn flour was made from 2 sticks, which is called a rough one. However, Liu Guangtian uses fine corn flour, which removes the seed coat and is as delicate as wheat flour. Soon, the aroma of pancakes and braised meat spread throughout the courtyard. Throwing a piece of hard firewood into 2 stoves, Liu Guangtian left the kitchen. Su Damao happened to come over with a smile on his face. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Calculation of birds. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Su Damao is holding a bottle of Fingio in his hand. Okay, the pig's heart and stomach are almost ready. I'll go get them out and drink them first. The pig's large intestine will take a while, Liu Guangtian said with a smile. Mao, you're welcome. You brought wine to your door. Su Damao is carrying a bottle of Fingio. This wine is good. We brothers have done it, Su Damao said with a smile. Su Damao believes that Liu Guangtian is a natural ally in the courtyard. Liu Guangtian must also be excluded in the courtyard, just like Su Damao. If in the factory, Liu Guangtian and Director Li have a good relationship. If it's still a purchaser, then it's even more important to establish a good relationship. Okay, I'll move the small table closer to the door, Liu Guangtian smiled and said. There is a 8 immortals table and a small 4-square table in the living room. Now move to a place near the door. The room is a bit dark, so there's no need to turn on the lights. Otherwise, Liu Guangtian would have become an outsider. At this point, the aroma of braised meat became more and more intense. The spice pack for braised meat was found at the delivery point of the supermarket. There are too many of these things online in the future. And the ratio is not comparable to this era. Liu Guangtian, who went to the kitchen, came over first with 2 dishes. It uses drunkard peanuts and cut preserved eggs with chopped pepper sauce. Next is the pig belly and pig heart. At this time, the stick meme is 8 years old, a chubby little guy. Leaving the watermelon head, it looks round. Such children should be very cute. But in a pair of eyes, there are fewer black eyeballs and more white pillars. It looks like the eyes of a dead fish. It makes people feel the urge to slap him twice. Dad, I want to eat meat. Liu Guangtian's meat is so delicious. Bang Gung said to Jia Dongshu. The Jia family put down the curtain and closed the door. I can't resist the fragrance rushing in. Go, Qin Huairu, go and get some meat. Jia Zhang stared at her eyes and said, Liu Guangtian is really unfilial. He made so much delicious food and didn't know how to bring me some. I don't know, our family is poor. Qin Huairu remained silent with a troubled expression on her face. Mom, just forget it. Jia Dongshu frowned and said, what are you doing to trouble Huairu? Liu Guangtian can even beat his father. Not to mention others. I want to eat meat, I want to eat meat, exclaimed the stick. There's meat in this lunch box. Qin Huairu said helplessly. The lunch box was obtained from the silly pillar. Now Jia Dongshu is still fine, and the white lotus of Qin Huairu has not completely turned black. Just get some lunch boxes back from silly Zhu. As for borrowing money or something, it's simply impossible. I only ate one of those few pieces of meat. Grandma ate all of them, exclaimed Bang Ji, rolling his eyes. With just one roll of his eyes, he couldn't see his black eyeballs. Mom, you too, just these few pieces of meat. Give them back. Sigh. Jia Dongshu said dejectedly. Jia Dongshu is still somewhat handsome and treats Qin Huairu well. At least in big scenes, being a good person is still very appropriate. Otherwise, Yi Zhonghai wouldn't have chosen him as an elderly caregiver. At this moment, although Jia Zhang was a mischievous person, he still hesitated to show his face. Of course, this is probably Jia Dongshu's face. Silly Zhu, this damn thing, just brought so much meat. He must have eaten it secretly. Jia Zhang awkwardly changed the topic. What he said was like she gave the money and silly Zhu bought the vegetables on her behalf. At this moment, Bang Ji was crying out loud, and Xiao Dang was scared and hid next to Qin Huairu. Qin Huairu had a big belly and a helpless expression on her face. I'll go, I can't go yet. Jia Zhang stood up. Forget it, I'll go find Liu Guangtian to make some concessions, Jia Dongshu said helplessly. He won't give me this face. When Jia Dongshu came out, he happened to see Yi Zhonghai carrying a bowl towards Liu Guangtian. But it was Yan Bugui who first brought half a bottle of erguotu to Liu Guangtian's doorstep. Oh my goodness, you're moving into a new house today. I'll bring you a bottle to celebrate, third master. Yan Bugui smiled and looked at the shiny dishes on the table. Hee, Teacher Yan, forget it. Don't mention your half bottle of water mixed erguotu, even if it's the whole bottle of erguotu, I won't let you sit down and eat. Why do you know it yourself? Liu Guangtian pouted and said, hurry up and go back and count the pickled vegetables. Your mouth smells so bad. Yan Bu turned around and walked away in a dignified manner. But I still took a breath of hatred. The braised meat here has a much stronger aroma. Yi Zhonghai watched as Yan Bugui walked away and shook his head, feeling somewhat contemptuous of him. Liu Guangtian only brought a little bit of each, Yi Zhonghai said, holding a large bowl in his hand. What? Master Yi, what did you say? Liu Guangtian looked incredulous. It's impossible to shout, Grandpa, but it's also not possible to shout, Yi Zhonghai. If there is no argument now, we cannot give names. After all, this old guy is a bit older. After a moment of confusion, Zhonghai said, yes, you just separated and went over. Whoever makes meat in the yard has to bring some to the old lady. The old lady is the ancestor of the courtyard. Wait a minute, Yi Zhonghai is not crazy, is he? It's not my business to recognize an ancestor. I don't want to recognize an ancestor. Liu Guangtian waved his hand and said, you know who I am. Don't try to kidnap me with your feudal ethics. Yi Zhonghai doesn't know what feudal ethics mean. But I also understand that as long as you include the word feudalism, it's not a fun idea. No, no. Then you don't want to give it, I'll pay to buy it. Yi Zhonghai gritted his teeth. In Yi Zhonghai's heart, a piece of cake is very painful. But also establish a positive image for oneself. Let the people in the yard see how he respects the elderly. These young people should learn from him. I'm not a meat shop here, you're in the wrong place. Liu Guangtian shook his head and said, I'll buy it from a braised vegetable stall outside. Silly Zhu was watching from his own doorstep, he couldn't help it anymore. In just a few steps, he rushed over. Liu Guangtian, why don't you have any filial piety at all? Said Silly Zhu angrily. Filial piety. Who is the deaf old lady? I want to have filial piety towards her. By the way, I don't have filial piety towards any bangs, let alone an outsider. Liu Guangtian said disdainfully. This sentence made Silly Zhu feel confused at once. No, Liu Guangtian's reputation is so bad. Just show filial piety to save it. Yi Zhonghai said with a sorrowful expression, otherwise, it will have an impact on your career promotion in the future. And if you want to find a wife in the future, it depends on what you do. TSK. Yi Zhonghai, you can really say anything just for free food. Liu Guangtian didn't care at all. You. Unreasonable. Let's go with the pillar. Yi Zhonghai angrily took the silly pillar and left. Jia Dongxiu, who was at his doorstep, wisely retreated. Jia Dongxiu doesn't think his face is bigger than Yi Zhonghai's. Brother, what Yi Zhonghai said makes some sense, Su Damao whispered. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Su Damao's pleasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There's a truth to it. Liu Guangtian sneered. The soul that comes from later generations, who has lived there for many years and doesn't know what the opposite surname is, how could it care about these things? If you have a bad reputation, it will be difficult for you to find a wife, Su Damao said. It will have a great impact on what you will be promoted to in the future. What can I do? Do you think Liu Haizhong still looks like a father? If I hadn't been lucky, he would have killed me long ago, Liu Guangtian said angrily. Liu Guangtian has memories of his predecessor, recalling the painful experience of being beaten before. Alas, brother, you should be a dim sum. These people will not let you go. Su Damao said, you must count on you, then you might as well take the initiative to trouble them. Liu Guangtian's body is 16 years old, but his soul is 30.6 years old. In just one sentence, it was clear what Su Damao wanted to do. Big brother, drink. Liu Guangtian raised his glass. At this moment, there were screams of exhaustion coming from the backyard. It goes without saying that Liu Guangfu is in the midst of his bangs. TSK. You dad. Su Damao shook his head. He's not my dad, Liu Guangtian shook his head. In his heart, his father is the one who will be the one in the future, treating him as the person at the tip of his heart. Unfortunately, I left early. As he was speaking, he saw Liu Guangfu running over from the backyard. I ran straight to Liu Guangtian's place. Liu Guangfu's face was drawn into the shape of a pig's head. Second brother, please help me. Liu Guangfu cried out. Liu Haizhong chased after him, but just stood from a distance and watched. I'm not your second brother, Liu Guangfu, Liu Guangtian shook his head without hesitation. Liu Guangfu looks like he's only 13 or 14 years old, but he's also a jerk. Previously, he stole Liu Guangtian's private money and caused trouble, so he dragged Liu Guangtian into the water and got beaten together. As for hitting classmates outside and grabbing things from lower-grade classmates. Anyway, it's not doing good things. Second brother, please save me. I'll stay with you from now on. Don't you have an empty house? Liu Guangfu cried, you give me 3 meals a day, and I'll definitely repay you when I make money. Hee, you're the only one with this brain trying to trick me. Get out of here. Liu Guangtian sneered, did Liu Haizhong give you this idea? TSK. You're really good at bangs. You didn't raise your own son, but pushed him over to me. Where's your face? Liu Haizhong's wife Zhang Suilan has also come over. She only cares about her eldest son in the Liu family. Don't worry about anything else. When Liu Guangtian and Liu Guangfu hit Liu Haizhong, Zhang Suihua remained silent and never persuaded. Liu Guangtian still has a lot of harsh words, but it's difficult to say them. After all, they are the parents of this body. It doesn't matter emotionally, but Liu Guangtian decided. Subsidy them in terms of money and material resources in the future. Even the subsidy is not currently available, with bangs costing over 80 yuan per month. I had a great time eating eggs and drinking wine every day. When you get old, I'll give you some subsidies. Liu Guangtian whispered in his heart. No, second brother, please save me. Dad really can kill me. Liu Guangfu pleaded bitterly. Even if he kills you, he will go get shot. If you are beaten like this now, just go to the police station and someone will come and catch him immediately. Liu Guangtian said, if you don't want to be beaten, go to the police station. The soul heard in the bangs is about to fly, if we go to the police station. How will he continue to serve as an official in the future? Liu Guangfu, get out of here. A roar of anger in the bangs scared Liu Guangfu and ran to the backyard. Breathing out of the bangs, he turned around and walked away. He saw that Liu Guangtian had such a big house and a job. He had a crooked idea. That's to drive Liu Guangfu over and live with Liu Guangtian. The question of what to eat is all up to Liu Guangtian. My own house has been vacated, which happens to be used for Liu Guangqi's wedding. A few dollars saved in a month can also help you suddenly eat more eggs on your own. Unexpectedly, Liu Guangtian didn't even eat this kind of trick. Many people were watching the excitement in the courtyard, and the Jia family came out. After hearing Liu Guangtian talk about Liu Haizhong's calculations, everyone found it amusing. Jia Dongshu's eyes rolled and he came up with an idea. Huairu, take your child to eat. I need to go find the master for something. Jia Dongshu said to Qin Huairu. At this moment, Jia Zhang sprayed feces all over her mouth and went back. Watching so much food but having nothing to do with her made Jia Zhang even more hungry. Dongshu, what's up? Sit down and have a drink. Yi Zhonghai saw Jia Dongshu come in with a kind expression and said. Looking at the fried cabbage vermicelli on the table, as well as a plate of roasted tofu and some peanuts. Jia Dongshu sat down with a thud. After drinking 2 glasses of wine in a row, Jia Dongshu stuffed a large piece of oil residue into his mouth. After swallowing it, he let out a mouthful of air and said, Master, Liu Guangtian just joined the company. Why did he divide so many houses? It's probably related to Li Huaid. Yi Zhonghai shook his head and said. Stepping on a horse, with so many people in our family, we only have one house. We can't even apply for a house. Jia Dongshu drank a glass of wine and said fiercely, I'll report Liu Guangtian. Why is he? Stop it. You reported Liu Guangtian. You're offending Li Huaid. That could make you lose your job, Yi Zhonghai warned. Yi Zhonghai is so tired. I feel like choosing Jia Dongshu as my elderly caregiver. That's really blind. Jia Dongxiu is such a fool, he has only been a second-level worker for so many years. I didn't expect Jia Dongxiu to retire, but I didn't realize that Yi Zhonghai wanted to take care of Jia Dongxiu's family. He didn't take away 10 or 8 yuan that month. Jia Dongxiu was taken aback for a moment, then realized that reporting was not so easy. And that kid Liu Guangtian didn't know where he got the pork. If you report it, they'll block you back with just one word, Yi Zhonghai warned. Can we get 2 rooms in his house? Jia Dongxiu said eerily. Well. We'll have the meeting tomorrow night. Let him get some supplies from the people in the yard first. The people in the yard will definitely support him. Then you borrow his house, as long as you get it, can you still return it in the future? Yi Zhonghai said lightly. He, master, your idea is better, Jia Dongxiu said excitedly. Su Damao's drinking is both a human dish and a hobby. After drinking less than 3 liang of wine, this person's eyes tilted and his mouth tilted. Buddy, I'm getting married soon. You must come over and have a drink then, Su Damao said proudly. Congratulations, brother Mao, but you've had enough to drink. You can go back and rest, Liu Guangtian said. Seeing Su Damao like this, he will soon be unconscious. Su Damao walked back crookedly, looking at his back. Liu Guangtian secretly said in his heart, marrying Liu Xiao. That also requires my consent. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Tell Yen Bugui to shut up. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Liu Guangtian decided to observe Liu Xiao. If she was really as kind and foolish as in the original work, he would have pointed out Su Damao. If you give Su Damao some guidance, this marriage cannot be completed. Liu Guangtian tidied up while tidying up the dishes on the table. After washing, place it in the kitchen. As for the braised organs, they are all taken to the 8 Immortals table in the living room. Lock the kitchen door, and as Liu Guangtian was about to return to his bedroom, he saw Yi Zhonghai walking over. Oh my goodness, you're also a person living in the courtyard. You're not new here, you just feel the rules. Yi Zhonghai frowned and said, why do you have to lock it? Did you move out? The public has locked it up. Who owns Master Yi's house? Liu Guangtian asked lightly. It's yours. Yi Zhonghai said. What does it have to do with whether I lock the door or not? Liu Guangtian rolled his eyes. This is something that we all agree on, Yi Zhonghai said with a gloomy face. I have the title of Advanced Courtyard, and we must. I didn't agree. Liu Guangtian sneered, if you want me to not lock the door, that's fine. Alright, you can write a guarantee letter. If I lose something, you can compensate me 10 times. Why should I compensate? Yi Zhonghai blurted out angrily. If you don't compensate, why don't you talk about a chicken? Liu Guangtian sneered, those who step on horses, this yard is going to become a den of thieves. Master Yi, you don't have any record. Yi Zhonghai couldn't continue. The owner is 1 less garlic, while the owner is 2 less steamed buns. 2 dried radishes from the southern family were caught, while a few coal balls from the northern family were missing. Such things often happen. But they were all suppressed by Yi Zhonghai. If I agree to this, I won't have to pay for it. Yi Zhonghai also knew that it was Jia Zhongshi and Bangang who did this. Don't compensate. Go on the side. Yi Zhonghai angrily turned around and left. He knew that in 2 days, everyone in the yard would be locked. No, we can't let him ruin the atmosphere in the courtyard. We must make sure he looks good at the meeting tomorrow night, Yi Zhonghai whispered in his heart, this is really a disaster. Liu Guangtian lay in bed, waving the brick with his mental energy, thinking about the goods in the supermarket he was carrying with him. Unfortunately, I can't take it out now. Otherwise, someone will discover it and I'll be pulled to slice it. The next morning, Liu Guangtian rode his bike and left. Of course, they still had to be locked. I gave a high imitation watch to Li Huaid at the steel rolling mill. TSK, not bad. It's really good, Li Huaid said with a smile. Oh my god, do you think you can find some ingredients for the reception in the small kitchen? This is okay. If I go to the countryside, riding a bicycle won't do. Liu Guangtian chuckled. The deeds for those 4 houses have been obtained. I can't match you with a car either. You're in the 3rd group of the procurement department, and all 3 groups go to the countryside by bike. Li Huaid hesitated for a moment and said, purchase 3 groups. The first 2 groups are focused on national supply of goods, while the 3rd group deals with unplanned materials. I'll take you over now. There are 3 groups of buyers in total, and the group leader Zhang Dayo is a middle-aged man in his 40s. There are also 2 people, Li Jun and Wang Wu. These 2 are both in their 30s. These 3 people are enthusiastic about Liu Guangtian because he completed their 1-month procurement guarantee task with 3 pigs yesterday. Oh my god, there's a treat tonight. You can't just use pork, Li Huaid said to Liu Guangtian. Do you still have any good things in your hand? Get some oysters or something. A while ago, I brought back some cars from Qinman, but they were all used up. I urgently need them tonight. After pondering for a moment, Liu Guangtian agreed, this is not a big problem. I'll go find it. I can't get oysters, but the sheep will definitely get you one. Li Huaid smiled uncontrollably and said, okay. That's great. I won't ask you about the origin of your goods, as long as they're not stolen, then there's no problem. Director Li, you're joking. There's no place to steal this thing. Give me a tricycle, Liu Guangtian pondered for a moment. Let's go, I'll take you to the kitchen. There's a tricycle there. Li Huaid led Liu Guangtian out of the office building. Just met the Bang's head. On. Liu Guangtian felt like he hadn't seen him. Hello Deputy Director Li, Liu Haizhong nodded and bowed. Li Huaid, this is a boring thing. As the Deputy Factory Director, I still need you to remind me to be a chubby guy. What are you doing here when you're not working in the workshop? Li Huaid frowned. I'm here to report someone to you, Deputy Factory Director Li. It's this Liu Guangtian. He has a bad character and is unfilial. I'm his father, and he dares to hit me. Liu Hai muttered in a flurry. Get lost, hurry back to the workshop to work. You've already made a name for yourself by hitting children in your bangs. Liu Guangtian severed his father-son relationship with you and established a household registration. Li Huaid waved his hand in disgust and said. Get out of here, hurry up and get out of here. If you have any more feudal parents' thoughts, be careful that I will hold a meeting to criticize you. With a blush in the bangs and a thick and grey neck, he walked away. Li Huaida's position and level in bangs are not just about adults hitting children. Liu Guangtian said awkwardly, I didn't expect that even factory manager Li knew. Oh my goodness, there's nothing else to hide about this, Li Huaid smiled and said, I sympathize with your situation as well. Liu Guangtian breathed a sigh of relief. He had already prepared a letter of introduction and went to live in Qinmen or other cities. Anyway, being able to provide materials oneself makes it easy to find a job in this era. Thank you, Director Li, don't worry. I will definitely handle the matter for you beautifully. Liu Guangtian said very seriously. Silly Zhu stood at the entrance of the cafeteria, watching Liu Guangtian ride his tricycle. Those eyes were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Liu Guangtian rode his bike out of the factory, heading towards Shikahai while secretly saying in his heart, I dare this Li Huaid to investigate my background. I took out fishing rods, fishing lines, and hooks from the portable supermarket. This is from the express delivery point. Someone bought these things, and what other nest bait are there? Now they are all placed in the pockets of tricycles. Looking at the sky covered in bright clouds, Liu Guangtian shrank his neck. It seems that the heavy snow will fall tonight, Liu Guangtian whispered to himself, and that bangs actually want to harm me. So you just wait. Hey, Liu Guangtian, are you fishing too? Ibu asked in surprise. Liu Guangtian had just stopped the car when Yan Bugui saw him. No, Teacher Yan, shouldn't you be in class now? Liu Guangtian sneered. He knew that Yan Bugui must have sneaked out to fish. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Yan Bugui stealing oil. You are listening at novel full.audio. I didn't have class today. Yan Bugui smiled awkwardly. Even if there are no classes, it still needs to be at school. Liu Guangtian didn't care about these things and just made some water. Just stir up the bait. This is something recommended by Yuan on a certain day, full of technology and ruthlessness. Fishing in this era is called dimensionality reduction strike. At this point, the water surface has not yet been frozen. Only 1 or 2 meters near the shore have ice blocks. The carp bait used by Liu Guangtian has a saying of cold knife summer carp. Crucian carp is also called swordfish in some places. That's why eating crucian carp in winter is more plump, and in summer it's better to eat carp. Yan Bugui is 5 or 6 meters away from Liu Guangtian, and there are 4 or 5 small milk crucian carp weighing over 1 or 2 in that small bucket. The first fish caught by Liu Guangtian was also such a big little milk carp. After picking it off, it was thrown back into the water. Yan Bugui felt a pain in his heart as he watched. What are you doing, Guangtian? What are you doing? It's too small, Liu Guangtian said casually. No, don't give me the third master, Yan Bugui said greedily. Teacher Yan, please be careful. You're not my third uncle. If you talk nonsense, you'll face a big fight, Liu Guang said coldly. The memory of this body, Yan Bugui, is not a good bird. When my predecessor was in elementary school, he was deceived by Yan Bugui into having breakfast. This guy has no bottom line to the extreme. This. Yan Bugui trembled. Liu Guangtian is such a ruthless person who even beats his father. He's such a rough guy like Yan Bugui. At this moment, Liu Guangtian once again caught a fish, and when he raised his rod to stab the fish, he felt that the fish was not small. After lifting it up, it turned out to be a large crucian carp weighing over a pound. This era is a land carp. Such a big crucian carp. TSK. It's old and valuable. This one costs more than 1 yuan. Yan Bugui's eyes turned red. Of course, what he said was the price on the black market. Liu Guangtian didn't pay any attention to him, he didn't fish until noon. There are 8 or 9 large crucian carp weighing about 1 pound in Liu Guangtian's bucket. Just now, I caught 3 or 4 tails of crucian carp, but they were all thrown back by Liu Guangtian. Not to mention the carp crutch in half a pound. Yan Bugui's hands trembled as he watched. The biggest fish that Yan Bugui has caught so far is a silver carp weighing half a pound. The flesh of silver carp has a strong fishy smell and too many thorns. The small silver carp can't even swallow. It was lunchtime now, and Yan Bugui took out 2 steamed buns from his arms and started eating them. There are also a few pickled vegetables inside, which is Yan Bugui's lunch dish. Liu Guangtian stopped and took out a tin can from his canvas shoulder bag. This is a 3-pound hot pot can. This is something that will only be available in later generations. Upon opening, there is a thick layer of white lard on top. Liu Guangtian used a spoon to scrape out the lard and threw it onto a stone. Fold a piece of iron into a simple stove and place the can on top. Ignite the alcohol block and quickly boil the can. Of course, These things were taken out of the portable supermarket at delivery time. I really can't think of anything that can be found in the package filled with over a dozen shelves. Liu Guangtian started eating with chopsticks. There are pork balls, bamboo shoots, vermicelli, dried tofu and so on in the tin. The fragrance made Yan Bugui's eyes sparkle with green light. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Liu Guangtian rode his tricycle and left. There are 14 or 15 large crucian carp and one big head fish weighing 7 or 8 pounds in the bucket. Yan Bugui caught more than 20 small milk crucian carp, and it was not bad that he caught 2 large plate crucian carp. This was only after Liu Guangtian left that he hurriedly arrived at Liu Guangtian's fishing spot. It's already 3:30 p.m., Yan Bugui is leaving here. I happen to see the white lard on the stone. Tisk. It's really a pity. It's such a big ball of lard. If you want to stir fry, it can last for a week. Yan Bugui drooled. Of course, Yan Bugui needs to get these lard back. Thinking about the fragrance just now, Yan Bugui couldn't help but take some lard into his mouth. The lard had some braised sauce on it, and the taste almost made Yan Bugui swallow it. After taking a sip of oil and water, Yan Bugui felt that all the dry cells in his body had been nourished. It seems like a bicycle axle that hasn't been oiled for 10 or 8 years has now been oiled. At the beginning, he couldn't help but eat the large clump of solidified lard. Tisk, that's a great thing. Liu Guangtian, this little bastard, actually lost it. It seems like there's not a shortage of good things to eat. This purchaser has a lot of money. Yan Bugui secretly said in his heart. He forgot that Liu Guangtian had just joined. When Liu Guangtian rode his bike to the factory, there was an extra burlap bag in the bicycle body. Inside is a slaughtered sheep shell. There were also about 10 pounds of oysters, which were thrown into the truck bucket like this. When Liu Guangtian returned, he was riding a bicycle with the big-headed fish hanging from the faucet. 2 flatbed trucks follow behind. The car is covered with wooden boards, wooden squares, and carpenter's tools. These were all bought by Liu Guangtian from the woodworking workshop at the steel rolling mill. Seeing so many supplies, Li Huaid immediately agreed to Liu Guangtian's small request. Liu Guangtian, what are you doing with these woods for? Yan Bugui happened to be at the entrance of the courtyard and got off his old bicycle. This guy's mouth is shiny with oil. Is it related to you? Liu Guangtian squinted. You unlucky child, I'm 3. Yan Bugui blurted out that I'm the 3rd master. You're nothing, just skipping school to go fishing. Liu Guangtian said. Stop talking, stop talking. Yan Bugui returned home. After all the wood was unloaded, the apprentices from the 2 woodworking workshops left. But each person holds a bag of front doors. Zhonghai's face turned blue and he said to Yan Bugui, who was coming over, it's just right for old Yan to come. Let's have a general meeting of the entire hospital. The old routine and scenes quickly filled the courtyard with people. Today we have a meeting and will mainly talk about Liu Guangtian's situation. Zhonghai said with a gloomy expression, Liu Guangtian is unfilial. Wait, Master Yi, wait. Liu Guangtian said, holding his arms in both hands, I'm not filial. This is a personal moral issue for me. You don't have the right to criticize me, do you? It's not up to Master Yi to draw a conclusion about my filial piety and unfilial piety. Of course, privately speaking, as long as I don't hear it, it's none of my business. Zhonghai's face turned pale, and Liu Guangtian secretly poked and said that he was a gossipy woman. My filial piety is not filial, only Master Liu has the right to say it. But there is not a saying that goes parents are not kind and children are not filial. Liu Guang said coldly, what kind of person was I beaten up in his Liu family? I don't need to say that, do I? This. There are only careless children, there are no parents who are not, said Zhonghai. Master Yi, you have come up with this set of feudal ethics again. TSK, your thinking is too reactionary, Liu Guangtian said coldly. Qinming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Stirring up the General Assembly of the whole court. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As a soul that has traveled through later generations, modern people who have been washed away by information online. Pinching a few hats casually is too easy. What I'm saying is to respect the elderly, not feudal ethics. Yi Zhonghai panicked and said, "You don't have to hat me. Master Yi, please don't talk nonsense. Just tell me what you want to do tonight," Liu Guangtian said directly. You are holding this conference, definitely not to say that I am unfilial. There's one more thing, you see how many people in the Dongshu family record one room. You live in 4 rooms alone, Yi Zhonghai said with a smile on his face. They are all neighbors of the same courtyard. You can promote your style and lend a house to the Dongshu family. They will definitely appreciate you. Yi Zhonghai, your monthly salary of 99 yuan is not enough for you to use up. How about lending me 50 yuan per month? Liu Guangtian said coldly, I will repay you when I have money. If you don't have money, just give it to me. The money I earn. Yi Zhonghai blurted out. But immediately realized that this was Liu Guangtian's excuse to block him, and he couldn't say a word. You also know it's your money, Liu Guangtian sneered. You don't want to spend money yourself, why do you use my things to do good things? I don't understand. You helped Jia Dongshu's family and wanted him to provide you with retirement. You don't pay for it yourself, you use others' money for favors. We have paid the money, and you have gained a favor. Hee. Good calculation. Some people have said that you raise a deaf old lady, but every family has to send her delicious food. Hee, it's not easy to make some meat these days. Yi Zhonghai felt cold all over, as if he had been stripped naked. Brother Guangtian, lend us the house. We will repay it in the future. Qin Huairu twisted her waist around the bucket and came over. Her belly was getting bigger, and it seemed like she would have a baby in no time. How about staying in that ear room with Dongshu? I'll do your laundry and clean your room in the future. Qin Huairu, who is your younger brother? Don't do this kind of thing, Liu Guang snorted coldly. What's your plan in your heart? Don't think I don't know. They are all foxes that have been around for thousands of years, so don't talk about Liaozhai. Qin Huairu was taken aback for a moment. She didn't expect such a beautiful woman as herself, and Liu Guangtian didn't even look at him directly. As for the words she said, she also understood. That's to say no, and what else to say about Liaozhai, Qin Huairu really doesn't understand. You little bastard. If you don't borrow a house, see if I don't smash your house. Jia Zhang rushed over like an old mother pig. But seeing the knife-like look in Liu Guangtian's eyes, she stopped with some fear. Master Liu, someone called me a little bastard, Liu Guangtian said to the bustling Bangs. The Bangs froze for a moment before finally remembering. If Liu Guangtian is a little bastard, what is in his bangs? Jia Zhang, what are you talking nonsense about? Liu Haizhong patted the table and stood up. Liu Pengzi, can I still be afraid of you? Jia Zhang shouted, jumping around. Yi Zhonghai gave a bitter smile and looked at Jia Dongshu angrily. If you don't hurry up and get Jia Zhang back, we need to handle serious matters here. Mom. Jia Dongshu quickly pulled Jia Zhangshi and said, don't make a fuss, serious matters matter. Jia Dongshu pressed Jia Zhang down and sat down. Old Liu, Jia, and Zhang's family didn't mean it. Don't take it to heart. Let's take things seriously. Yi Zhonghai comforted Liu Haizhong first, Liu Guangtian, we are a civilized courtyard, and neighbors need to help each other. Wait a minute, Yi Zhonghai, don't use this kind of preaching. If you want to use this kind of preaching, brainwash me, and make me look like a silly pillar with no brain, then you are blind. Liu Guangtian said indifferently, I have the ability to think independently and I don't know what you say. We also help each other. Who have you helped with Yi Zhonghai before? Let's hear from you. Don't talk about helping Jia Dongxiu and the deaf old lady, hehe, that's what you should do. As for why it's what you should do, as long as you have a brain, you can figure it out. Also, Jia Zhang, you scolded me. Hehe, this matter is not over. I will go to the street tomorrow to find Director Wang. You will summon souls and curse people in the courtyard, waiting to be deported back to the countryside. Liu Guangtian's output made Jia and Zhang tremble with fear. Daring not to go to war with Liu Guangtian, he ran home like a big mouse. Yi Zhonghai's face turned pale. He didn't accomplish anything today. The skin on his body was also peeled off by someone. Scattered, scattered. Everyone go home and cook. Yi Zhonghai picked up a large teapot. Everyone laughed and dodged, pretending to have watched a lively scene. Damn it, we need to give Jia Zhang some color to see, Liu Guangtian whispered in his heart. At this moment, silly Zhu has returned. He has a hospitality to attend tonight. Carrying 3 heavy rice boxes in his hand, he drifted in. Is there any hospitality on the pillar tonight? What delicious food did you get? Qin Huairu stared straight at the lunch box in silly pillar's hand. Qin Jie. It's a bit delicious, silly Zhu said with a dry smile, but my sister came back for dinner today. Here. I'll give you 2 lunch boxes. Silly Zhu's eyes were fixed on the granary in front of Qin Huairu's chest. There's no shortage of rain, why should we compete with children for food? Qin Huairu smiled and reached out her hand, grabbing the net bag in silly Zhu's hand. Stick memes and Xiao Dang are both waiting. Qin Huairu's hand touched silly Zhu's hand, causing him to tremble. He loosened in a daze. Qin Huairu turned around with a lunch box and walked away, and silly Zhu chuckled twice. Watching Qin Huairu's buttocks wriggling like a grinding disc, her eyes were a bit straight. TSK, silly pillar, silly pillar. Yan Bugui walked over with his stomach in his hands. Yan Bugui's stomach was rumbling, and he couldn't resist the pain. Wait, what do you mean by this, third master? Silly Zhu blocked Yan Bugui. Step aside, I don't mean much. Yan Bugui's voice changed. During this conversation, it seemed like a volcano was brewing in my stomach, and it was about to erupt. Of course, silly Zhu could see it. He opened his hands and stopped Yan Bugui, saying, Third master, let's sit down and talk slowly. I still have half a bottle of wine. Get lost. Yan Bugui emphasized that everything has changed. What is the pillar for? Hurry up and let your third uncle go, Yi Zhonghai stood at his doorstep and shouted. Silly Zhu shook his head and let Yan Bugui run away. Liu Guangtian doesn't care about these anymore. Although there is a faucet in the kitchen. But to kill fish, it's better to use contact water outside. Just as I killed a fish, I heard a voice ring. Liu Guangtian, why are you killing fish in the courtyard? Looking up, he saw a beautiful woman with a 9-headed body, which gave Liu Guangtian a stunning feeling. This is a natural beauty. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Liu Guangtian's thoughts on rainwater. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the silly pillar of the Jia family at the door and seeing his sister Rainwater returning, it was then that he remembered his sister's situation. The rain has come back. I'll get you the money now, Yuzhu said awkwardly, I'll go make some food for you. Looking at his brother like that, Rainwater let out a deep sigh in his heart. Suppressed the anger. We can't have a falling out with silly Zhu now, otherwise we won't even be able to afford this living expenses. Rainwater is 16 years old this year. I used to be classmates with Liu Guangtian, but he stopped studying after graduating from junior high school. Rainwater continues to attend high school. Rainwater is 1.7 meters tall, but it looks just like a bamboo pole. That face was wax yellow, and at first glance it was clear that it was malnutrition. Rainwater just entered his room and headed straight for the small jar hidden under the bed. There are 2 salted duck eggs in that jar. Rainy knows that it's not reliable to expect silly columns. Take salted duck egg and eat some wow to yourself. Unexpectedly, as soon as he reached out and touched an empty space, Rainwater gave a bitter smile. It goes without saying that this was touched by a meme. Here's the 5 yuan rain for you, Silly Zhu chuckled and said, we don't have any food left at home. We've run out of share this month. They both have food supplies, but they can't resist the foolish pillar taking it out to subsidize Qinhuairu. Just for Qinhuairu's seductive smile and the touch when handing things over. Silly brother, I'm hungry all night and there's nothing to eat. Anyway, I'll have something to eat at school tomorrow. Rainwater said lightly, I can't let Sister Qin's family miss out on food. She needs to pretend to be sensible, otherwise she won't be able to afford her living expenses in the future. It's great to be able to get into university after 3 more years of hard work, and the government subsidies are enough to make a living. If you can't pass the exam, you can start working. Graduating from high school is guaranteed. As long as it lasts for 3 years, I will no longer step into this courtyard house. Rainwater has given up on silly pillar. Then go to bed early, Silly Zhu chuckled. I'll go back and lie down too. Silly Zhu came back from having a full meal at night. Looking at the siblings standing at the door, Liu Guangtian, who had just finished fishing, turned his eyes and said, Brother Zhu, I need your help. The rain is coming back. Can you ask me for help? Silly Zhu felt a bit confused. I have been beaten by this little bastard before. That hatred is still in my heart. Yes, you helped me make the fish, Liu Guangtian said. I'll treat you to a drink. By the way, I didn't eat the rain either. Come and join us. This is not good. Silly Zhu hesitated, he really wanted to drink. Liu Guangtian, are you? Rainwater was a bit surprised. Silly Zhu said the matter in a few words. I'll come over and help you, Liu Guangtian. Rainwater agreed in one gulp, it's just cooking a fish. You little girl, can you still be as skilled as me? Silly Zhu hurriedly said, don't stand here. Let's go over quickly. It's just that braised fish requires a lot of oil, otherwise. I have a piece of lard here, you boil it into lard, Liu Guangtian said. There are 2 pieces of board oil in the kitchen, both weighing 10 pounds. Tisk, it's still your purchasing staff. You really have good things, said Silly Zhu in surprise. The lamb and fish today are really good. That oyster is all counted by number. I don't even have a chance to taste it. Silly Zhu went to the kitchen to work on his own, so it's a piece of cake for him. Liu Guangtian, you're good now. You've become a purchaser and you own 4 rooms. Rainwater looked envious. They stood under the corridor talking. When talking, Rainwater's stomach growls. This made Rainwater's face turn red. Let's go to the living room and wait for the rain, Liu Guangtian said with a smile. The cotton jacket worn by Rainwater was a bit short, making her 2 long thighs look like a compass. Just too thin. Liu Guangtian is the soul of an adult in his 30s, with the beautiful little face of Rainwater. It grows on his aesthetic point. Liu Guangtian wants to play a cultivation game. In this era, many people in rural areas get married at the age of 15 or 16. When Rainwater graduates from high school, it happens to be after getting married. As for the trouble of Silly Zhu, it's not actually a problem for me. Coincidentally, he's my uncle, so I can get involved in his affairs. These beasts that can stir up our restless day and night. Liu Guangtian whispered in his heart. You can sit down in the rain, I'll get you something to drink, Liu Guangtian said. Rainwater sat down on the chair next to the 8 immortals table. After Liu Guangtian went to the bedroom, he quickly came out. I have 2 more iron boxes containing tea in my hand. One contains milk powder, and the other contains white sugar. Both of these items were found at the delivery point of the portable supermarket. Being thrown back to the supermarket during outsourcing. Rainwater is not polite either, holding a glass and preparing to pour hot water to drink. Hot water can still bring her some heat. I'll take the rain. Liu Guangtian came over and opened the iron box, putting some milk powder and white sugar in the glass. Then I poured in boiling water. Suddenly, the air was filled with a milky and sweet aroma. Rainwater was stunned when Liu Guangtian covered the iron box. She stuttered and said, Is this for me to drink? Yeah, hurry up and drink. By the way, these 2 boxes are also for you, Liu Guangtian said with a smile. I can't take this. Rainwater picked up his glass and took a sip. Not to mention the taste, I immediately felt a surge of energy filling my whole body. Take it, look at how thin you are. Liu Guangtian said, after drinking, I still have it here. Don't feel embarrassed. I lent it to you. Give it back to me when you start working in the future. Liu Guangtian spoke confidently, but in his heart, he had made up his mind that when the time came, she would use her own hands to pay for the rain. While speaking, the aroma of cooking lard came from the kitchen. This kind of fragrance is called domineering in this era of lacking oil and water. Guangtian. Thank you. Rainwater's tears fell low and smashed into the milk in the glass. No need, we grew up together. Why are you so polite? I didn't have the ability to help you before. Liu Guangtian smiled and said, I'll go get some corn flour and have your silly brother stick pancakes on the fish cooker. Stick pancakes on the fish pot, and of course, use miscellaneous grains to taste good. In later generations, when eating on a firewood stove, they would use corn and other miscellaneous grains to make pancakes. White-faced ones are actually not liked by anyone. Silly Zhu is cooking lard, which actually has some tricks. When Brother Zhu cooks the fish later, he sticks pancakes by the pot. Liu Guangtian said and placed the porcelain basin in his hand on the cutting board. Corn flour. Oh, that's not right. Why is it so delicate? Silly Zhu looked at the corn flour in surprise. This is corn flour from later generations, it won't be crushed together with corn cobs. And this thing also removes the corn husk. Crushed and as delicate as white flour, it made Silly Zhu's eyes look straight. Qinman outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.